What's up, mobile gamers? It's Johnzer Gigs back with another tier list. This time, we're not going to do any of the games. We're just going to go straight to the tier list. There's only 5 of them, and honestly, I play these guys so much that most of you are probably tired of seeing me playing these guys because I play support pretty much constantly, especially on the channel here. And I wasn't sure if you guys wanted the videos before the tier list. So if you guys like this version better, let me know in the comments. And if you like the previous version, let me know in the comments. So just kind of leave your thoughts on these tier list videos in the comments for me. It really helps me a lot. Drop a sub if you want to. And we are probably just going to get straight into this because either way, I'm going to make the tier list. I know a lot of other people have started making tier lists, and honestly, my videos are usually pretty long, anyways. So, luckily, there's only 5 of these heroes, and you'll notice that it is a little bit different from the last tier list video, regardless of the number of characters. But these heroes have their default skins on. They don't have the skins that I have in game. I wasn't sure if that would be easier for you guys to recognize or not. Obviously, the default skins is what most of you guys are used to. But if you watch the channel, then you're used to the skins that I have on in game and then in the previous icons in my Vanguard tier list. So if you guys are liking these icons with the default skins, let me know down in the comments as well which you guys prefer. So if you're going to drop a comment, it's what skins do you like for the icons, and do you want videos before I make the tier list, or do you just want straight up tier list? So the straight up tier list is what we're doing today, and you'll notice there's no D tier. I don't think any of the heroes in the game are D tier, even though I would say Victor's my least favorite. He is kind of grown on me. I think if they gave him a good skin and a small buff, he'd definitely jump up. But all of these heroes I really, really enjoy playing. I try to keep it unbiased. That's why we have a C tier. If it were up to me, all of these heroes would be A tier. I love playing every single one of them, and I honestly do good with even the worst hero on the tier list, which you'll see in a second. But I think we'll probably start off with A tier. So we are going to do the most controversial pick first. Sindri's A tier. A lot of people are probably freaking out already. They're like, how is Sindri A tier? She should be S tier. What are you even talking about? And honestly, she is very good. I just don't think that she measures up to the S tier healer. And I think that a lot of the other healers can do the same things as her. She just can do them a little better, right? And if you're going by grades, C is average. If you're going by most tier lists, B is average. So A is just above average. So that's still very, very good. A tier is you can't go wrong with picking them, and most of the time you should pick them. She has her drone and herself both can heal. So she pops her drone. That's her first ability. And her second ability is that she can heal. Now, the reason I wouldn't put her in S tier is because you have to set the drone up first. If you could set the drone further away, then maybe she could go to S tier. I think there's a lot of small changes that could help her out, and the S tier healer is going to be a lot better than her in multiple situations. But what happens is, the reason she's not S tier, you have to place the drone, right? So if you have a team fight, you go place the drone there, and then you heal. But you might, excuse me, you might as well just heal using Sindri because she's very good. And if you're going to run up there anyway, you might as well use her healing because it does more for her to heal than it does for the drone to heal. So it's kind of a catch-22 because if you put it in a good spot, then it comes in clutch. It can be very handy. But if you don't have the drone down already, you have to drop the drone in a good spot. And a lot of the time, your teammates might not play in that area, so you end up recalling the drone anyway. I would also say that the drone gets destroyed really quickly. So it's never really the drone that does the healing. It's Sindri. So her healing is nice, but it is not constant healing like it is with literally all the other heroes in this list. I thought about dropping her down to B tier, but honestly, she's so good at dealing damage and having 2 points of damage, a second target to look at, a second area of healing, that she still has that A tier. She still retains that, but she does not have constant healing in the same way that the other support heroes do. And I think that they maybe should make it double up, but that would make her pretty strong. All of these heroes need buffs except for our S tier healer. And I think Sindri is the best example of what a very good healer is. She is seen all the time. She's fun to play. She heals a great deal, and she's exactly what everybody is looking for. I don't really think there's any problems with her, honestly. I'm just saying that she has a few shortcomings that a lot of people maybe don't take into consideration because she's so strong. If she hadn't received the damage nerf that she did, she'd be an S tier. But the damage nerf that they gave her was too much, in my opinion. I don't think she needed a damage nerf. I didn't think she was very strong. Almost every creator out there was listening to that, and they were like, oh, two heroes got balanced, Ruby and Gatlin. And they said Ruby, and we were good, obviously. And then they said Sindri got nerfed, and pretty much anybody who has a brain is like, what the hell are you talking about? She's not that strong. And now she's even worse. And I would argue that all of these other healers can be picked in place of her, except maybe our C tier healer, and you can still do just fine. She's still very good. She's still very strong. She doesn't have any glaring issues, but she has a few tweaks that could move her from B to S or higher in A or something like that. You know what I mean? So that's why she's there. It's more of a conservative placement. And she also does not have what I would consider anything that does enough for the team. So when you're fighting other players, she doesn't have a damage boost, a heal stopper, an invincibility. All the other healers have that. She just has her drone. And honestly, with the nerfs that the drone has gotten and the fact that you have to place it and then it gets shot down almost immediately because she's so strong, her drone doesn't do as much as it could to put her in S tier. So that's why she's in A tier. She is the highest healer in A tier, and you could easily say she's in S tier. I mean, you can move her back and forth. S tier's fine with me. For me, we're putting her in A. Like I said, I want to be unbiased because I love playing Sindri. Sindri's probably my second favorite healer on this list. And I'll tell you who my favorite is in just a second because I am showing you guys why I try to be unbiased, because one of my favorite healers, not my absolute favorite, right? But my third favorite, maybe, is Chemist. I love Chemist. I love her character. She's awesome. She's so much fun to play. She fits my play style. But I have to be unbiased here and put her where she belongs. If it were up to me, like I said, they'd all be an A. But Chemist does not have what she used to have. And that's really sad, honestly, because Chemist could be very good, and you could still buff her right now, and she'd still be very good, and she'd actually probably rise into the A tier or B tier if you did a small to medium nerf, respectively, and that would really help her out. Honestly, she should heal herself, at least a tiny bit. You know, even if it's only like 150 health per bullet or something like that. She really struggles, honestly, and it's because she can't heal herself. So not only do you have to change your playstyle with Chemist, so for most people that's almost match breaking. You can't play her the way you used to, and you pick her and you get slaughtered, and you're like, what the hell's going on? Why is my Chemist so bad? And the answer is she can't heal herself. And it's sad because I wish she still could, and she's not good enough to use that other playstyle. And the other playstyle is to sit back and fire the bullets from long range. And that's where you kind of get into a conundrum because that's exactly what Labula does. Let's not get it twisted. She should play like Labula, but she is not good enough to play like Labula because she does not heal or do enough damage. Her healing's not enough. Her damage isn't enough. You have to arc all of her shots, and it's just not worth it. a worthwhile pick because they have nerfed her too much. She got too many nerfs. They honestly have nerfed everybody too much, except for our S tier healer, which I'm sure you can guess by now. But Chemist is in a rough spot. They need to make her heal herself with her standard bullets, at least a little bit, so that you're not um, a sitting duck. And if they're not going to, if they're like, no, there's no way we're doing that, then they need to make her heal more, do more damage. Her bullets should travel faster and maybe have less of an arc. They essentially need to just make her gun work like Labula's, or at least do more than Labula's does, because you have to arc those shots and aim them. So maybe because she's harder to aim with, then you do more healing and more damage than Labula does, because it's a harder hero to learn and a bigger skill gap. I think that would be a worthwhile change. It would work very well for her as a hero and as a healer, and it would make her a viable pick, because right now, all of these heroes you can pick and you're pretty much good. Um, I would say that her other ability, where it blocks them being able to heal, is very, very good. If you can hit a group of enemies, one, two, maybe even three, they're going to have a tough time because they won't be able to get healed by the healer or by the health packs that are on the field and on the map. And it's very, very strong, but the rest of her kit is not very good. Her damage ultimate, where she tosses it on somebody and they do extra damage, that's not really worth much. It does auto heal, like instantly it gives them full health, but then again, it's like they're not invincible. So if you're facing a Gatlin, she's just going to shoot for an extra half second and kill whoever it is that got the extra health. So she definitely needs some tweaks. She needs some love, especially for all my Chemist mains out there. I know you guys are looking for some love on Chemist, and I wish I could say it's coming, but I don't think they care too much about the support heroes. They could easily make them viable, but right now you don't even need a support hero on your team. You could easily pick a damage or an extra tank and be fine. Even if you have the S tier healer on your team, it's not going to amount to much unless your Vanguard plays with you or something like that. This class needs some love. They have been nerfed. There's only 5 of them, right? If you look at the damage category, there's at least 12 of those guys, probably more. Half the roster is damage heroes, and we've only got 5 supports, and it sucks because only 2 of them are really that good. And the other ones are just, they're kind of there, they're kind of meh, and it's really sad. I think Chemist needs some love. Let me know what you guys think on how you would buff Chemist, because she needs it. Out of all the heroes, she's probably the one that needs a buff the most, except for maybe Vincent and Victor. You could argue those two, but she has been nerfed to the ground just like Aletta was this season. Only Chemist doesn't have any saving grace. She does not. The healing block is nice. Stopping people from healing is nice, but I just don't think it does enough to warrant her being anything higher than C tier. And it's really sad because I love Chemist and I really hate putting her down there. But I want to be unbiased for you guys and give you the thoughts that make the most sense. So we'll go into our next healer, which is Iris. She is right here. And honestly, I'm not sure how you guys feel about Iris. I haven't really seen a lot of comments that say Iris is good. Most everybody hates her gun now. And it really sucks because Iris is absolutely my favorite healer on this list as a character and as a hero in the game, as her playstyle. Her gun was so nice, and now that they changed it, it is very sad, very annoying, and I just wish that she had the other gun back, honestly, because they say that you're supposed to focus more on her abilities, but her abilities aren't very good. You know what I mean? They're kind of average. She has some decent healing that she can give off. She can still heal herself for a small amount, which is nice. And she has the ability to boost damage on a single target by 25%. And I know that doesn't seem like a lot, but it is. It can make you shred through enemies very quickly if you put it on the right person, that the one your team is focused on. Then Iris is very, very strong in the support role. However, she does very little damage, and her gun is hard to hit with. It doesn't have a nice fire rate. Everyone likes the old gun, including myself, and she doesn't do enough healing. Her healing is very lackluster. It's not very strong, and it's discouraging because she used to be very good. I think they've changed too much on the healers. I'm not so sure that they're going to survive as they are now. I think you're better off picking a damage person, like I said. I mean, that's just the facts, unfortunately, and I wish that weren't the case because I really like Iris. I wish she was better, and she can pretty much sit there and be. There's not really anything to say about her as far as like stuff that she's very good at, because she doesn't do anything that another healer doesn't already do. You could make an argument that she's A tier. I could see that. But if you're going to pick a healer, all the other healers do what she does better. The only thing that they don't have is the damage up. And honestly, if you don't use it right and your team isn't very good, you're not going to get a lot of use out of it. And that's pretty sad because I love Iris as a character. And I think that she's B, high B, low A. So wherever you guys want to put her is honestly fine with me. She doesn't belong in S tier, obviously. She doesn't belong in C tier because she does everything Chemist does, but better. And while the healing block is nice on Chemist, I would rather have damage up, especially with how many heroes are damage dealers. A lot of these teams don't have a healer on them. They're Vanguard and damage, and you might see a support every once in a while if you're playing a higher rank. But for the average player, you're not going to need to worry about people healing because they're not going to have a healer on the team. And that's just the truth. Iris is still decent. I would say is B, but I'll put her in A for you guys because I know a lot of you guys are Iris mains and stuff like that. So those are kind of my thoughts on her. Her ultimate is still very good, but a lot of the heroes can counter it. Gatlin, Osas, Hualing. So she has a decent amount of counters, and her ultimate only lasts like 8 seconds. So you can just wait out her ultimate the same way you would with like Labula's invincibility. It's not as strong as it used to be. Her gun's been nerfed, and she doesn't do enough to warrant that nerf with the gun. If she did more healing and maybe the damage boost was like easier to hit, then I would say that, yeah, absolutely. You can nerf her gun all you want, and that's fine with me. But when they didn't do enough to give her a better kit, and then they nerf her gun, I just don't like it. It's not enjoyable. It's even harder to hit headshots than it is with Judix. A lot of people have been saying they don't like Judix because she's hard to use. She only has 4 bullets in her clip. And Iris is better because she has more ammo in her gun, but she also can't dish out that amount of damage. You can dish out a lot of damage with Judix, whereas Iris is just not there. And I think it really sucks because she doesn't do enough as a healer and as a support. It's just not it. You know what I mean? So we'll keep her an A for you guys. We'll bring her up to A because I know a lot of you guys like her, and myself included. She'd be an S if I could. But I have to be honest with you guys and with myself because I want to be objective. Neon's A. She's very, very good. She's better than Iris. She's almost as good as Sindri, and she's very much so slept on. She has her first ability, which heals, obviously, and it gives her a speed boost if you have her passive. So you can click that ability, and it will go on to the next person, and it gives them overshield as well. So she's very, very strong. She can switch between targets, and her single target healing ability is pretty close to unmatched. There's not a lot you can do if she's healing a target unless you're playing somebody like Gatlin or Osos where you can take them down before she even has a chance to heal. And a lot of people are really not seeing how good she is. Her teleport is insane. It almost doesn't have a cooldown. It's a very small cooldown. I don't even know if it's like a 3-second cooldown, maybe. Um, it's insane. And a lot of people, they don't utilize it because what happens is you use your single target, the Gatlin guns down your Jabali, and then you're like, oh my God, I'm going to die, and you have nothing you can do. But if you are playing smart, before your Jabali is dead, if you know he's going to die and you know you can't get out, then you use your teleport to retreat. And it's honestly very strong. You can go through walls, you can turn fights around because the burst healing is very strong to turn a team fight around. And honestly, she's very underutilized. She's very strong. Her gun's not the best. I'll give you guys that. Her gun does need a buff. Um, they could change her gun and she'd still be an A, honestly. I think you could make an argument that maybe Iris is better in certain situations. But then again, you have Neon's ultimate, which gives one person and Neon invincibility. And it is very, very strong. If you use it right, it can come in clutch. You can pair it with Labula. You can pair it with the damage boost from Iris. There's so many things you can do with her ultimate that can really turn the tide. If you have a Gatlin and she swings too wide, you can use it on her, and she can basically mow down the entire field without even having to reload and without taking any damage. And that's something that no other healer can do because Labula's invincibility field that he has, you can just shoot the top guy, the little Labula guy that's on the top of the pyramid, and it will stop him from healing. And he can actually leave that healing area. So if he has invincibility and he pops it on one of his buddies, but his buddy runs away and he gets out of that pyramid, he's free game and you can kill him without the invincibility. So there's definitely ways to counter that, and Neon plays very well with pretty much any single target, and she's very strong in teamwork. A lot of you guys know that people will run ranked with 2 or 3 of their friends, and if you have a Neon, a tank, and a damage, you're unbeatable because she has the highest single target healing. She has somewhat decent poke damage because you can do damage while you're healing, and she has invincibility and a teleport. So even if you get split up from your team, you can just teleport back, and it's very strong to reposition, very strong to swing team fights, and I think she's very much underutilized. A lot of people don't really understand how good she is. I would even say you could put her above Sindri. If you are bad with Sindri and good with Neon, you could say she's above Sindri. For the average player, Sindri's going to be better. She's going to be easier, so that's why Sindri's above her. But if you have somebody who's like a healer main or something, she can come in clutch in a lot of situations that Sindri maybe just can't, and it's because of her teleport. She can honestly go very far with it. She can go through walls, like I mentioned before, and the burst healing is a radius. So if you have a Jabal and he's about to die, and he's sitting there with an Aletta, you can teleport in, heal both of them, start healing the Jabali, do damage while you're doing that, and turn the team fight around. And that's just crazy. It is insane. She's very, very good. I think they need to buff her gun, and maybe nerf the S tier healer just a tiny, tiny, tiny bit. Barely at all if you're going to nerf the S tier healer, which you guys obviously know who it is. But all of these heroes need love, and it's really sad to see that we only have 5. Not all of them are viable. Most of them aren't even that good. They needed that damage that they used to have. They needed to be more of a healer. Chemist needs back her personal healing, even if it's just a small amount. And I think Neon's the best example of the quality of life changes that these healers need. She needs more damage from her gun, because right now, if you use the teleport and then that's it, she's kind of just all right. Her ultimate's insane. Her teleport's handy, but she doesn't do enough damage to make up for the fact that she can't put out as much healing for the whole team as the other healers can. And her damage is not very good. And it makes her hard to play. She's not very fun to play because she doesn't do enough damage to be considered viable. At least if you hit your shots with Iris, then you're going to do better damage. But even headshots with Neon they're just laughable. It's the same problem with Ya. She cannot get somebody down low enough to use her tactical, and that's why she's bad. And Neon has the same issue. So that's why she's an A. Her single target healing is very good. Like I said, you could easily do this. You could easily do this, this. There's so many things you can do with these healers and places you can put them if it's your personal preference. But we're going on the average player who just picked up the game. What do they think of these healers? How easy are they to use? And what's my opinion as an unbiased, third party? What would I say? What would I tell them? Oh, you should play this one because of this, or this one because of this. And honestly, if I had it my way, they'd all be S tier. I'd do a small amount of buffs and make them all S tier, and it would be awesome. And you'd actually have a healer meta. But right now, your healers are not very strong, except for one, and that is Labula. He honestly doesn't need any changes. If they nerfed him, if it was a small nerf, it wouldn't be too big of a deal. If it was a medium to large size nerf, I'd be upset. And he doesn't need any buffs. He's perfect the way he is. He's honestly the epitome of healing. And if I were to say, who do you want all your healers to play like? Who do you want them to be like? Like the amount of healing they can do, the amount of damage they can do, the amount of utility their kit provides. That is Labula. All of these supports should be at Labula's level, because even one Labula is enough to maybe turn a team fight, but he's not as impactful as a damage or a Vanguard or a very good flank. These healers can only turn the tide so much, and it's sad to see that all these healers need changes, save for Labula. I wish that they were all at his level, because then it would be easier to put them all in A or put them all in B or whatever you guys want to say as far as a game-wide tier list goes. But it's tough because I want all of these heroes to be good, all of these supports to be nice and do a lot of healing, do a lot of utility, but none of them can do what Labula can, and they all should. You pick up a hero and you're like, oh, they're kind of all right at support, I guess. And you pick up Labula and you're like, oh my God, this is what everybody else should feel like. You should feel like you make a difference in a team fight. You should feel like you can bring your hero that you're trying to protect, your buddy, back to life and save him from certain death, save him from a Gatlin even sometimes. And Labula does exactly that. He's exactly where all the other healers need to be, because as heroes go, he's maybe B to A tier, to low A tier in a game-wide tier list, and I don't think he's too strong. But he's exactly what a healer should be. He's exactly what people are thinking when they say, why is Chemist so weak? You pick up Labula and you know what healers should do. You know how much health they should put out. You know how good they should be, how much utility they should give your team, how easy it should be to turn a team fight if the other team makes a mistake and plays wrong against somebody who has a healer. Honestly, he's the epitome of a support hero. All of the heroes should be as good as Labula. They honestly all should be. And I feel like I can say that confidently and unbiased, because I honestly hate Labula. I don't like him. Playing him is okay. He's not my cup of tea. His character is kind of all right. His playstyle is kind of low to mid fun level, and I honestly I don't enjoy playing him as much as I do literally all the other heroes on this list. But I know when I see a healer what they should be and what they should feel like, and I know when I see Labula that he's the best healer. He's the best healer objectively. His tactical is very good. It gives shield to an ally or himself if he uses it on an enemy, which can turn the tide of the fight. He has his other tactical, his second ability, which gives you a short frame, couple of frames, couple seconds, whatever, of invincibility, which is very strong. But the ability itself is still counterable because you can shoot the Labula at the top. So he still has room for counters and room for growth. And it's what I want to see for all the other healers. I want them to be able to heal a lot, do decent damage, heal themselves, have abilities that are worthwhile. Like Chemist's ability that blocks healing is pretty good, but she herself is terrible. So how you can't really capitalize on it unless the other team is running a healer, which nobody will. And if they are, you just use Labula and drop his tactical, make everybody invincible that's in it. I just don't get it. It's crazy. They should all be better, and they should all be like Labula. Let me know down in the comments what you guys are thinking of this tier list. It's only 5 heroes, and Labula is obviously the best objectively, and all of these heroes should be like him. His ultimate is very strong. It allows you to put out a ton of healing or a ton of damage or both. You can put it pretty much anywhere, and you can put it somewhere, leave the area, and it will still fire where you're looking at, which means that it does exactly what Sindri's drone does, but it's better at it. And to me, he has everything that all the other healers do combined and then some. He does all of the things they can do and does it better than they can. And that's why he's an S tier. He is exactly what all the other healers wish they could be. And they need to take notes. T3 devs, any of you guys, send this to the devs or another content creator and tell them, like, this is what support mains need. This is what support heroes should feel like. They should all be at Labula's level, because that's what you're looking for when you play a support. You're looking for an effect that can change the outcome of the game or the fight or whatever, and not all of these heroes can do that. Sindri can kind of do it, but the other heroes need their ultimate, and they need all their abilities combined just to do what Labula does on his own with maybe one ability. And it's sad to see for people that love to play support. And I wish that all of the other heroes could be like Labula. I know that doesn't explain his ranking, but I mean, all his abilities are awesome. They all are way better than the other healers on this list. And he himself, he can stand alone. You can still 1v1 somebody and pretty much come out on top a decent amount of times if you're good. And he is counterable. There's ways to counter him that make sense to his gameplay and that make him balanced. And I think that all of those heroes need buffs except Labula. If they were to nerf him, it'd be a sad day. Not only because he doesn't need a nerf, but because now all the healers suck. Because even though they're an A tier, they're not the best. You can pick a damage character, a damage hero, or a Vanguard hero and do better. And Labula in the right hands can definitely change games. But if somebody just picks him up, the average player, they're not going to swing the match in their favor just by playing Labula. They might swing one team fight with all their abilities and stuff, but they're not going to do what they can if they pick Ruby or if they pick Gatlin or if they pick Osas. And I think that we need more as a community for supports and healers. So let me know what you guys think. Do you want more support heroes? Do you think everybody should be at Labula's level? Honestly, I do. Like, I would say that's the one thing I am the most firm on is the support heroes, the support class in general needs to be better. It needs to be worth picking, and right now it isn't. And that's the saddest part about this video, is that we need to show the support slot some love. So that's the tier list for you guys. I really hope you enjoy. I love making tier lists, and I try to be as unbiased as possible. And just remember, all of these heroes can be played at an A level, and a B level, and a C level. If you suck with Labula, then he sucks. You know what I mean? It's all about the player in this game. A lot of these heroes are still viable. Chemist maybe isn't as viable, but I still like her. She's fun. And I want to be unbiased for you guys and show you guys what the reasons are that we've put them in this tier, or why I think they need a nerf or a buff. because that's what this game needs, is a little bit of love for the support mains, because they have the smallest number of heroes. They have the least amount of impact on the battlefield except for Labula, and they are the most niche. A lot of people don't play supports. And if they played supports, you'd see a different T3. I think it'd be a healthier game. I think it'd be better. And once they nerf Gatlin, because they do need to nerf Gatlin, I think you'll see a little bit more support players in the match, because at the way it is right now, you don't really need to worry about support mains, because you can just pick Gatlin, Osas, Hua Ling, or something like that, and get rid of them super easy, even if they're healing or using ultimates and stuff like that. So that's the tier list for you guys. Hopefully you enjoy. You can comment and sub all you guys want. Definitely blow up my channel for me, because I really want to know what you guys have to say. That's really what the tier list is all about, is finding out what you guys think. So hopefully you guys enjoy. We'll see you guys in the next one. Probably do a skin showcase, because we love those here on the channel. And pick up a support main and see how it is. We'll see you in the next one. Peace out.